Es domāju, ka dizains ir skaistums un
Dizains ir
Dizains ir es.
Dizaina sarunas, attālinātās dizaina sarunas, gaidot dizaina gada balvu. Pavisam drīz, jau pēc gada tā būs klāta. Un man ir īpašs ciemiņš, Čārlis Bušmanis pievienojies. Hello, Čārlis!
Nu, labdien! Hello!
Kā iet, Čārlis?
Nu, ļoti labi. Labs laik. Ideāli.
As far as I know, Charles, you have been born in Switzerland. And you studied in Switzerland, and please enlighten me. How did you end up here in Latvia and working with design?
Well, I was born in Switzerland. I studied the majority of my life in Switzerland. Then I moved to the Netherlands, and actually I moved to Latvia from the Netherlands and not from Switzerland. And the reason being, back then was a program called Brigade. With which I was able to pursue my master thesis in design, which was related to social enterprises.
Okay.
And I also met my now wife here.
Oh, that's cool, and that's good. Tell me about you are also a lecturer right now here in Latvia, and you were studying in Switzerland. You were studying design. To be specific, in Switzerland, is there anything we should still learn in our education system, or everything is all right with studying design? What's the situation right now?
I think one of the biggest difference I noticed between Latvia, but not only Switzerland, but Netherlands, France, Spain, Belgium, Germany, even Poland, is that we study design, but we do practical exercises. We develop real product on an average between 8 and 16 hours a week. And this is where we really gain our skills through going in a workshop, through making prototyping, trying them out on people, contacting specialists, spending time literally out of the school in a wood shop or in a metal shop with talented craftsmen, creating connection, learning about the materials. What I see in Latvia and what I experience in Latvia also as a design teacher in product design is that here that class is 1 hour and a half. So 1 hour and a half versus 2 full day, there's quite a big difference. And I think also in Latvia, what I see is that students in general have a lot of skills, drawing skills in general, which is a fantastic thing. But I feel strongly that in the design studies or design departments, there is a lack of a vision. And I think this lack of vision generates a lot of small initiative going everywhere, but that does not fit well together. So I think maybe the first thing in Latvia would be having a vision of where to go with a design education. What is the vision is not as important as having a vision in the first place.
All right. Not only you have your wife here, you have a company as well.
We have a design company called Design Elevator.
So what is it? What are you doing, and how big is your team?
Well, we're planning to hire 2 more persons last month. A few things did not turn out as planned, unfortunately. Oops. Yeah. And we have 3 main areas we're active in. So we have the classic design domain we're in, which is product design and development. Then we have another field we're in is strategic design consultancy, where we work with boards of company and assisting them putting their knowledge together. Because at the end of the day, they have the knowledge, we have tools to organize that knowledge. So we work with them in helping them define their future strategy. And the third aspect we have is education aspect, where we're running a workshop to pass on our knowledge as designer to the general public, to entrepreneurs, to startups, to students. Because at the end of the day, the tools we use can be used in a variety of setup, of domain, of context, and a lot of people can gain value from it. So work with the state, for instance, we had a large project with them. It was absolutely fantastic. It's really nice also to see the people we work with now applying these tools and method within their work independently of us and obtaining results.
You were just speaking already about different types and different angles of design. But if you have to give a simple answer, what is design? What's the answer?
I think design today became a Chemodanswort, a word that means absolutely everything and nothing. And for me personally, I think you'll find as many definitions of design as there are designers in a way. And even internationally, we cannot agree on one definition. But for me personally, I think design is, first of all, an attitude, is to be curious to what people in the center and to design with them and around them. And a designer is not a one-man orchestra, is not a Superman. I think a team player is the role of a designer. I cannot recall any product, any project that we did where I was alone. Even for carpet collection design, we were 7 people.
All right. Let's talk about Runa. We are here because of Design Award, and Runa is probably, for design people, the most well-known thing you helped to develop. So for those who have never heard about Runa speech, what is it and how you came up with that idea?
I did not come up with any idea.
No?
The company had an existing product. So the company is called Certes Technology. They had an existing product that was a clip microphone you would attach to your jacket. So to replace the heavy stage microphone that you have to carry around, or that headset with the battery pack that always take 5 minutes to set up. And they came with their product and telling me, everyone says it's great, but it's difficult to sell. We don't get much sales. Maybe you can help. And as often for startups, this was a startup at that stage, they grew a lot since. They have this, we need this unique differentiation of the market, so it should be the lightest and the smallest, etc. And I think our role as designers is to say, stop, we shall not focus on technical aspects unless it makes absolute sense for the customer. So first thing was to dig into the context. Where is the microphone used? Who is utilizing it? How are they utilizing it? And then we worked on the microphone. We simplified the entire user scenario. How do I connect it? How do I disconnect it? And so on. The first prototype were literally Flowmasters with pieces of tape and markers on. So we could pretend to use the product, see how do we react ourselves, how people react. And from there, move on. We had around 70 prototypes. Some were part of the product, some were the entire products, and you gradually grow. And this is work that is done together with the company, because I come up with idea and I say, hey, nice, but from an electronic standpoint, it's not working. So we make adaptation and we work together. And really then we worked also on one very important point, is how to make the microphone easily serviceable abroad. So you have better service of your product. You have a product sold in Australia, your local retailer can open it, change a board to repair it, and just ship you the board if you want it back, and reduce the amount of parts. So that entire cradle-to-cradle approach, not a new customer experience, but also the entire product chain.
But speech is really successful internationally, is it?
They following the design, they were able to sign up a contract with a distributor, and it got present in 92 countries, and that was within a month of completion of the project.
Amazing, amazing.
So this is the power of design. I mean, you cannot do good design if you don't have a good idea at the beginning. And you cannot do a good design if people you work with are also critical towards themselves and you're critical towards you. So it's always a teamwork. It was just a great and fantastic experience working.
When asked to describe Runa, the jury of Design Award was using this Latvian saying that this design is made to be used from cradle. This thing is from cradle to cradle. Does it make any sense for you?
So actually, cradle to cradle is a design approach that was theorized by actually a German and a Swiss guy. I just don't remember the name by heart. And I had the chance to attend workshop and to be trained by them in the Polytechnical School of Zurich for one summer. So I learned how to design products with a cradle-to-cradle approach, which means making sure that you can recycle your product, that when you dismantle it, it's very easy to dismantle it. Metal from wood, plastic from electronics. So not to create extra waste. Okay. And that also has to do with the entire supply chain, assembly chain, and also how do you treat your wood, what type of paint you use, etc. And I noticed in Latvia, if you speak about cradle to cradle, or we're going to apply ecological aspects in the design, clients tend to be a bit scared and think, oh my God, it's going to be expensive. So we never tell them. We still apply it because we know that economically it's good for them. In many cases, the product is cheaper to manufacture if you manage to reduce the inventory that they need. So even if individual part is a bit more expensive, they save in shipping, they save in manufacturing time. So altogether, it's a very good approach.
Maybe tell me what's the value of such an award, in your opinion? Why shall we speak about design annually, in a larger scale as we do it?
Now, I think the value of the first value of an award is to communicate what design is and what design can do to companies in the vicinity of the place where it's happening. So in Latvia, is to speak to Latvian company, in Switzerland to Swiss companies. And besides that, it's important companies learn about what they can do, because this is where designers can get jobs. I think an award should not be a situation, to pat one another on the back, hey, good job, and so on, because at the end of the day, it doesn't bring us anything besides a good party. I think an award is really there to communicate with the public what we do and to show recognition and appreciation for quality projects and also bring work to these people. Because at the end of the day, who cares in Switzerland who is the best Latvian designer, and who cares in Latvia about who is the Swiss designer of the year? I even don't know.
That's true. That's true. We're living in strange times. We're experiencing something, I guess, we haven't experienced before. When this special situation with COVID-19 will end, what do you think? What will change in the world, and what will change in the design society? Will there be any changes?
Well, it's not the first crisis I'm going through as a designer. Last time was 2008, 2009. And, as designers, we generally tend to feel the crisis early on. So a couple of months before it was happening, we could already feel and see in our numbers that we were getting less jobs and we might be facing a bit of a hard time. And also designers generally take more time to recover in such situation. 2008, 2009 crisis took approximately 2 years for the design industry to recover. While companies were digging out of their boxes old projects, you had a whole re-edition of vintage pieces that led to a whole new trend. But also what we learned during this crisis is that design can have an absolutely critical and important role to play in terms of economic recovery and preparing for the after crisis. So now what is happening is we have companies that have human resources that have nothing to do. So they could divert these resources from doing nothing to research and development to innovation to create new products. And this is where designers, as team members, as team players, with the knowledge of the material, of the manufacturing technology or contact, we can work together with companies. So when they leave the crisis, they're in a much better position. They recover much faster. And we have seen this happening with some companies back already in 2008, 2009. One of the most known examples is the case of Logitech, where they put roughly 20% of their workforce, if I remember, towards research and development. Hey, guys, we don't have much work, so let's do research and development. Come up with your ideas. Now is the time to express yourself. And that posed the basis of what today is Logi. So a couple years later, they changed their name. They had that whole fun product line. And all that work was done in crisis time. And they grew exponentially from there. So I think this crisis can be an opportunity for designers, for companies as well, to spend time in research and development and innovation as they're not doing generally. If the state supports that and facilitate access to fundings for research and innovation, that I think could put Latvian economy in a fantastic situation and could also provide a lot of work for designers and not having to hand out state support for food every month. So I think it's a win-win-win situation. I see that crisis as a big opportunity for us.
Okay. And what's there for you? Do you working right now to something really special? Maybe you can spill some beans and tell us about that.
I cannot really, because there are some projects we're doing are unfortunately confidential, and we're not going to be able to speak about them. But right now, as COVID crisis appeared, we are working actively with companies in gaining funding for product and development. And we still have some more capacity to welcome one or two more clients for that.
Superb. Thank you very much for taking time to speak with me. I hope we will see some of your projects or some of things you will help to develop in next year's Design Award, probably.
I think for me the best reward in a way is when you meet a client a couple of years later and they arrive with you with a very dirty, very shitty prototype pieces of cardboard with marker and say, hey, we have that idea. Would you like to work together? And I think this is where I see success, or where I see people I've been providing metals and tools with, developing new initiatives or policies within the state. And this is where I get the reward. I'm really happy and proud of what they're achieving.
Charles, I wish you good health. Charles Bušmanis, šodien sarunā ar mani. Charles, lai jauks vakars. Paldies par sarunu.
Paldies, jums arī. Čau.